Revealed, how a billionaire transformed the life of an abandoned pregnant vendor in 30 days. In the heart of downtown Chicago, the sun dipped below the skyline, leaving behind a riot of colors. Shadows elongated, but they lurked threatening, just like the hollow ache in Lily's chest. A hot dog cart sat like a small island amidst the rushing tide of people, and here stood Lily, a 30-year-old expectant mother, balancing plates of steaming hot dogs while cradling her dreams in a cramped space. Ambition had once looked like culinary school and Michelin stars. Now, it felt like squeezing mustard onto buns with shaky hands. She drew in a breath, eyes scanning the parade of oblivious families. Laughter echoed around her, yet it felt miles away. Pregnant and alone, Lily struggled with the reality of a partner who had vanished at the news of her pregnancy. The world shifted beneath her, leaving her grasping for stability while the weight of her future pressed heavily down on her. Yet, something flickered within her, persistence born out of necessity. Meanwhile, Jack, a billionaire stuck in an emotional rut, roamed these city streets like a ghost. His new reality was empty penthouses and hollow applause. Wealth was supposed to pave the way to happiness, yet here he was, facing the bustling life outside his window, the chatter and chaos reminding him of the warmth he had forfeited. And then he saw her, the woman behind the cart. Amidst the mundane routine, her fire ignited something in him. Her apron stained yet dignified, her eyes showed resilience that pulled at his heart. As he approached, Lily barely noticed the tall figure until he cleared his throat softly. "Hey, I'm Jack. Can I buy a hot dog?" "Sure." Her eyes narrowed, studying him, the weariness of her day visible in each glance. But this wasn't just a casual transaction. Jack smiled genuinely, and an unexpected warmth flickered in the air between them. "I'd like to offer you something more." Initially taken aback, Lily shook her head, barely suppressing a scoff. "Like what? A free ride to fancy dinners?" "I don't have time for games. I want to mentor you, for 30 days. His words hung in the air, charged. She hesitated, heart racing. Trust had been betrayed before, and this felt just as precarious. What did a billionaire know about street vending or, more importantly, about survival? But as she met his gaze, something stirred. Could she dare to accept his hand? Weeks rolled by, their unlikely partnership blossoming. He showed her how to refine her recipes, transforming simple hot dogs into gourmet treats, while she unveiled for him the beauty buried beneath hard work and humility. A connection grew, laughter replaced hesitance. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." Yet as they stood on the brink of success, the shadows from his past threatened to collapse their fragile bond. A painful revelation about Jack's family made him pull back, and Lily wrestled with her fears, the hurt of abandonment creeping back. The city buzzed around them, but their silence was deafening. In a final twist of fate, community support rallied around Lily, ignited by Jack's own commitment to her dreams. But as the noise grew louder, so did the doubts in their hearts. Would they cut the strings to their pasts and leap together into the unknown? Amid the bright lights and bustling streets, hope mingled with fear. What choice would they make at this crossroads? As the days turned into a whirlwind, the air crackled with tension between Jack and Lily. His retreat felt like a void, leaving her caught between the thrill of new possibilities and the weight of past hurts. They stood on the cusp of a breakthrough, but every time Jack met her gaze, she sensed him drifting just out of reach. With every hot dog she sold, an ounce of hope flickered within her. Inspired by Jack's guidance, Lily had transformed her humble cart into a culinary gem. Word was getting out about her extraordinary creations, gourmet hot dogs that felt alive with flavor. Regulars flocked to her stand, their smiles reflecting the joy that slowly crept back into her life. Yet, behind every smile, a nagging uncertainty hummed. Jack, too, faced his reckoning. As he watched Lily thrive, the unease within him deepened. Would he allow himself to embrace the unexpected bond they had formed? The shadow of his past loomed larger than life. Memories of family gatherings turned cold and bitter played in his mind like a stale record. The pursuit of wealth had made him forget the warmth of real connections. One evening, after a long day, Jack found himself standing across from Lily's cart again. It was bustling, the crowd buzzing with excitement. Tonight was special. It was the launch of their collaboration, a recipe showcasing local Chicago ingredients. But as he watched her interact with customers, each laugh and smile felt like a dagger to his heart. If only he could simply break down the walls he had built. Jack! Her voice cut through his haze. She waved him over with a brightly lit grin. Come taste the new recipe. He approached, a mix of guilt and admiration swirling in his chest. I've been watching you, Lily, he admitted, his voice steadier than he felt. You're incredible at this. No, she shot back gently, I'm just building on the foundation you helped me create. She handed him a steaming hot dog topped with vibrant, fresh ingredients. As he took a bite, the flavors danced on his tongue, an explosion of joy. It was everything food should be. This is amazing, he breathed, savoring each mouthful. You've changed everything. That's not true, she replied, a flicker of sadness in her eyes. I just needed a chance. The air hovered thick between them, a fragile bridge of unspoken thoughts. Jack suddenly felt the weight of conversation pressing on him, the truth knocking impatiently at his heart. I want to talk about. Before he could finish, a familiar figure crashed into the scene, a former business partner, one who had been privy to Jack's weaknesses. Jack! Fancy seeing you here, looking so domesticated. The voice dripped with disdain, slicing through the moment like glass. Lily froze, uncertainty settling like a thick fog. She could see the sudden tension in Jack's shoulders, the way his jaw set tight. I'm just helping a friend, Jack replied, the words coming out sharper than intended. A friend? The partner smirked, eyes darting between Lily and Jack. See, this is what comes of downgrading. You enough. Jack's voice thundered, catching the attention of passers-by. Lily's heart raced. Who was this man to come in and shake their fragile world? Lily, Jack turned, urgency in his gaze, but the brewing storm within him threatened to unleash. Jack, it's okay, she whispered, though she felt the chill of his insecurities wrap around her like a shadow. But what she didn't expect was for Jack to take a step back, swallowing the weight of his decision. Would he let the ghosts of his past dictate his future? In that moment, a divide reopened, and the bustling city around them faded into a distant hum. Maybe I need some time, he muttered, stepping away as the crowd resumed its motion. Lily stood frozen, emotions flickering like a light bulb on the brink of failure, her heart plunging into doubt. Would he choose solitude once more, leaving her to navigate these streets alone? As Jack walked away, the bite of uncertainty filled the air. Doubt shadowed hope, leaving Lily at a crossroad where love felt both close enough to touch and yet impossibly far. What path would Jack take, and would he be brave enough to face what lay ahead? The night air was thick with the sounds of laughter and chatter, but all Lily heard was the rush of regret in her chest. Jack had stepped back, taking her hopes and dreams along with him. She could still see him, framed by the glow of her cart, a silhouette against a backdrop of bright lights. But that silhouette felt more like a ghost, now haunting, unreachable. With a deep breath, she forced herself to focus on the crowd. Customers enjoyed her gourmet hot dogs, their smiles genuine, the zesty seasoning enveloping them in warmth. But the joy they brought her felt muted, as if she were watching life through a fogged window. She turned her back to the cart and wiped her hands on her apron, overwhelmed. Hey, everything okay? Jenna, her regular customer, leaned against the cart, concern knitting her brows. You've gone a bit quiet tonight. Lily forced a smile, the muscles in her face protesting. Yeah, just thinking. Big night ahead, right? Jenna nodded but couldn't hide her skepticism. You know we're all rooting for you, don't you? Your food is magic. Just keep building on it. As the evening wore on, the crowd thinned out, and Lily found herself alone. The city lights twinkled around her, but the loneliness seeped in, each glimmer a reminder of the warmth she had just lost. Clutching the edge of the cart, she closed her eyes and replayed the moments with Jack, the laughter, the gentle teasing, the fleeting connection that felt like a lifeline. Yet, doubt gnawed at her. Would he come back? Would he even know how much those moments meant to her? Jack sank into his car, staring out through the windshield into the bustling street. The world moved on, oblivious to the turmoil raging inside him. His partner's words echoed in his mind, a nasty reminder of his past choices. He had once been caught up in a chase for status, and now here he was, afraid of that very legacy stifling him once more. Picking up his phone, he texted Lily a simple line, a bridge back to the warmth they had shared, "Can we talk?" But as he hit send, self-doubt washed over him. What if he drove her away for good? His mind raced. There was more at stake here than just his own feelings. He had to confront the shadows that loomed over him. Those ghosts didn't just belong to him anymore. Back at her cart, Lily's phone buzzed, and her heart leaped. She fumbled to check the screen. The message was short, but heavy with meaning. "Can we talk?" Staring at the screen, hope and fear clashed within her. Could she really step back into that uncertainty? Was vulnerability worth the risk? Lily hesitated. The days stretched ahead like a canvas full of possibility, but darkened by what-ifs. She knew she had to make a choice, and quickly. Taking a deep breath, she typed back, "Yes, I'm here." Jack felt a rush of relief wash over him at her response, intertwined with a pang of anxiety. They were both at a crossroads, but he had to push through. In that moment, he realized the truth: there was so much more to lose if he didn't try. The cold air wrapped around him like a mask as he drove back toward her cart, determination building like heat. He could almost taste the closure, the chance to make things right. And just as the city lights began to flicker like distant stars, he thought of Lily, of her strength and the spark ignited between them. He clenched the steering wheel, ready to face not only her but his own fears. Was Jack prepared to fight for something real, despite everything that stood in his way? As the car rolled to a stop, he took one last breath, his heart racing toward an unknown future. What awaited them when they finally faced each other? Would they find clarity, or would the old wounds reopen? The moment Jack stepped out of the car, the night wrapped around him like a heavy blanket. He took a deep breath, scanning the dimly lit street that had felt so familiar just hours ago. But tonight, it was different. Tonight, he was on the verge of confronting everything he had been avoiding: the past, the future, and the heart of the woman he had unintentionally hurt. Lily stood near her cart, the colorful lights casting a soft glow around her. There was an air of vulnerability about her, and he felt it in his bones. She seemed lost, her eyes clouded with uncertainty. Each step he took toward her felt monumental. Would she see him as the man he really was, or the ghost of missed opportunities? "Hey," he said softly, his voice barely piercing the stillness of the night. She looked up, surprise flickering across her face before settling into a cautious expression. "You came." "Yeah," he replied, fighting the sudden urge to fill the silence. "I didn't want to leave things the way they were." Lily shifted her weight, the tension palpable between them. "What did you want to talk about?" Jack hesitated. The words he needed felt trapped in his throat. "I know I messed up. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I see now I was only thinking about myself." His heart raced as he continued, "I want to be honest with you. I've been afraid of what we could be, of letting you in." Her brows furrowed, confusion battling against an undercurrent of hope. "What do you mean by that?" He took a deep breath. There's so much I haven't shared with you. The pressure, the expectations from my family, it's suffocating sometimes. I lost sight of what mattered, and that's not fair to you. He stepped closer, his eyes locking onto hers. You matter to me. I want to fight for us, for something real. Tears glimmered in her eyes, and Jack felt a twist in his gut. Seeing her like this, vulnerable yet fierce, struck him profoundly. Do you really think we can try again after everything? She asked, her voice thick with emotion. I'm willing to try if you are, he said urgently. His heart screamed for her to say yes. But I know I have to do better. I need to face my fears, my past, if we're going to make this work. Lily's gaze dropped to the ground, struggling with the shadows of doubt. It's not that simple, Jack. I've been hurt too. I'm scared. Jack nodded, his heart ached at every word. It's okay to be scared. I am, too. But we can take it one step at a time. We owe it to ourselves to see if this can work. For a moment, time seemed to hold its breath as they stood in that fragile space, both hanging on to the possibility that they could navigate their past and step into a shared future. Just as Lily opened her mouth, a loud noise interrupted them, a commotion from the nearby alley. Jack and Lily both turned towards it instinctively. A group of young men appeared, raucous laughter echoing as they stumbled into the nearby streetlight, their shadows wavering like ghosts. Instinct kicked in Jack, protective. He placed himself instinctively between Lily and the approaching chaos, adrenaline coursing through him. Stay back, he warned, his voice firm even as uncertainty clawed at him from inside. Lily's eyes widened in fear, but as she grasped Jack's arm, a spark ignited between them. Was it about to unravel, or would they stand united despite the unease closing in around them? What's happening? She whispered, her voice uncertain but steady. Jack looked back at her, uncertainty pouring out. I don't know, but I won't let anything happen to you. As the tension charged the air, they locked eyes, understanding that this moment would change everything. The question hung heavily above them, would they emerge stronger together, or would this chaos drive them apart? The laughter of the group echoed louder, a cacophony of reckless abandon that sliced through the still night. Jack's heart raced as he studied the group, their postures teetering between playful and aggressive. This wasn't just a simple encounter, it felt like a reckoning was brewing, and he was unwilling to let Lily be caught in the middle of it. Jack, she said, her voice breaking through his ruminations, laced with worry. He turned to her, quickly assessing her expression. Stay close, he urged, not daring to look away from the approaching figures. One of the young men, his face illuminated by the streetlight, let out a loud guffaw. Hey, look, it's a couple. What are you two lovebirds doing out here? His tone dripped with mockery. Jack clenched his fists, trying to suppress the instinct to confront them. Ignore them, he whispered to Lily. We'll just hold our ground. But the group wouldn't just fade away. They closed in, filling the space with their intensity. Jack's protective stance seemed futile against the wave of unwelcome attention. One of them, with a brash smile and fiery eyes, stepped forward, taking in Lily, then shifting his gaze back to Jack. What's the matter? You scared or something? The tension escalated, and Jack could feel the adrenaline coursing through him. We're fine. Just keep walking, he said, his voice level but firm. Lily, now gripping Jack's arm tighter, looked anxiously at the group. Maybe we should just go, but Jack held firm. No. I want to let them intimidate us. You're more important than that. From behind, he felt her power surge as she took a step closer to him, grounding them both in the company of uncertainty. I'm scared too, Jack, she finally whispered, but we can't let them win. The laughter faded, their focus drawn entirely to the pair. You think you can just stand there? That's cute, the ringleader said, swaggering closer. But we're just trying to have a little fun here. Jack's breathing grew heavy. The chaos outside mirrored the clash within him, the desperation to protect Lily battling against the storm of his own fears. Standing here, he had one choice, to shield her or let the past, that crazy pit of missed opportunities and pain, spiral back in. "Listen," Jack said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. "We don't want trouble. Just let us be." The leader paused, and a smirk spread across his face. "What if we don't want to let you go? You think runaways like you can just walk away from us?" In that moment, Jack's mind raced. Memories of the past, all the moments he had let fear hold him back, haunted him. But now, standing here with Lily, something shifted. He could no longer retreat, it was time to confront not just the men approaching them, but every fear he had ever harbored. "We're not afraid of you," he said, more for himself than anyone else. "And if you don't back off, you'll regret it." The tension hung between them, a brittle thread poised to snap. Would this pushback transform them, or would it push them further apart? Suddenly, the ringleader's bravado faltered just for a heartbeat, a flicker of doubt in his eyes. Maybe Jack's words had cracked the bravado he wore like armor. But before anything further could happen, they all felt it, a moment of shifting dynamics. It was palpable, the air crackling with unspoken possibilities. Something had just changed in the balance, and they could feel it. Jack glanced at Lily, longing for her support, ready to face whatever choice was about to unfold. But just as the confrontation seemed to reach a tipping point, a siren blared in the distance, shattering the moment like glass. "What now?" Jack muttered, sensing the group's hesitation. Lily looked up at him, her fear slowly transforming into a spark of something deeper. "We have to be careful, Jack. This isn't over yet." As the sound of sirens grew closer, he couldn't help but wonder, would they find their way through the chaos together, or would the night leave them more broken than before? The sirens wailed like a ghostly wind, cutting through the tension that wrapped around Jack and Lily. Jack's breath hitched. He could feel the eyes of the group darting between him, Lily, and the approaching sounds that promised order or chaos. Just a moment ago, it felt like the ground beneath them was tilting into a void, but now it was a storm of indecision that weighed down the other group, their bravado slipping. Jack dared to take a step closer to Lily, feeling her pulse quicken in sync with the flashing lights flickering down the street. "Stay behind me," he said softly, an urge to protect intertwining with the growing strength he found in her presence. The leader, caught off guard, hesitated. "You think the cops are gonna save you?" He sneered, though there was an edge of worry in his voice now. "You're just trespassers, like us." "But we're not here to play games," Jack replied, the adrenaline coiling tighter in his chest. "We're just trying to get home." The others in the group exchanged uncertain glances, judging the rising alarm in Jack's voice against their own bravado. It occurred to Jack that fear was as contagious as laughter, it could change the dynamics of power in an instant. Lily's grip on Jack loosened slightly, something shifted inside her. Her eyes blazed with a freshly ignited fire. "You know what?" She stepped forward with determination. "We're not here to be part of your entertainment. You don't own this street or us. We have as much right to be here as you do." Her voice, fierce and unwavering, sent tremors through the group. They had expected meek compliance, not the fury of a girl who knew her worth. Jack watched with newfound admiration as the tension seemed to settle, an unexpected bond forged between them in that shared act of bravery. "You really believe that?" The leader scoffed, though his bravado had vanished, replaced by a hint of uncertainty. "Yes," she replied, her voice steady even as the sirens drew nearer. "What do you have to prove, anyway?" In that moment, Jack felt the grounding of their connection. It was as if the world fell away, and it was just them against the world, a realization that this encounter was their first stand, not just against adversity but against a lifetime of fear. The sirens grew louder, adding urgency to their standoff, and Jack felt the collective awareness that they stood at a fork in the road. Suddenly, the ringleader shook his head, seemingly sobering up. "Forget this," he spat, turning on his heel as the dim glow of blue and red flickered closer. The others followed suit, retreating into the shadows from which they had emerged. Relief washed over Jack, but it was tinged with something deeper, what they had both discovered within themselves in those few heartbeats. The darkness that had filled the space just moments before now felt like it was receding, replaced by a fragile flicker of hope. "Jack, did we just?" Lily started, emotions swirling in her eyes as they locked gazes. "Yeah, we did," he breathed, feeling an unfamiliar warmth radiating through him. Maybe this night hadn't shattered them after all. Maybe it had strengthened them. The wail of police cars filled the night air as they began to disperse, and Jack knew they had to move. "Come on," he said, taking her hand, the sensation electric and grounding all at once. "Let us get out of here before they start asking questions." As they walked away, heart still racing, a piece of him felt a strange exhilaration creeping in. They had faced down the unknown and emerged unscathed, but what else lay ahead? Just as they turned the corner, Lily squeezed his hand, and he could see her face light up with questions. "What does this mean for us?" Her voice was small, filled with uncertainty that mirrored his own. He glanced back at the darkened street, knowing they had tapped into something powerful. They had chosen courage. "Whatever it means," Jack replied, "it has to mean something good." But deep down, he wondered, could they really keep moving forward, or would their moment of bravery become a fleeting memory in the face of greater challenges ahead? The night air was sharp with uncertainty, every breath deepening the weight of what had just happened. The remnants of adrenaline coursed through Jack's veins, fueling him with an odd mix of excitement and unease. As they hurried down the quiet street, Jack glanced at Lily, who had fallen into a contemplative silence, her brows furrowed in thought. "Jack, I don't know what came over me," she finally said, breaking the stillness that had enveloped them. There was a hint of disbelief in her voice. "I just felt this fire. Like I had something to fight for." He nodded, understanding the spark that had ignited within her. "I felt it too. It's like we found each other in that moment," he admitted, his tone gentle. It was powerful. They continued walking, the silence hanging between them thick with unspoken questions. They were traversing new territory, not just in the physical sense but in the realms of their own hearts. Jack wanted to push onward, to talk about the fighting spirit they had just unearthed, but a nagging thought held him back. What if that was just a fleeting feeling? They reached a park, the greenery illuminated by sporadic streetlights that cast soft bags of light across winding paths. As they wandered through the space, Jack stole glimpses of Lily. She looked smaller beneath the glow, yet there was something undeniably strong about her. "Do you think they'll come back?" she asked, stopping suddenly and tightening her grip on his hand. "Maybe," he replied, heart pounding. "But, we can't look back. We have to keep moving." Just as he finished speaking, a sudden crash shattered the calm of the night, echoing off the buildings around them. Jack instinctively pulled Lily closer, instincts flaring. "What was that?" "I don't know, but it didn't sound good," Lily whispered, anxiety flickering in her eyes. A group of figures raced past them, yelling. Jack's stomach dropped. What if they come this way? Feeling the urgency swell again, Jack led her along a narrow path that bordered the park. The sound of laughter drew them in the direction of a nearby diner, neon lights buzzing, giving off an inviting glow. "Maybe we should go in there, at least until things cool down," Jack suggested, hoping the bustling atmosphere inside might block the chaos lurking beyond. They slipped through the door and into a haven of warmth and chatter. Jack felt the tension in his body begin to release as they settled into a booth at the far corner. The smells of fried food and coffee brought a brief sense of normalcy amidst the chaos outside. "Just breathe," he said, seeing the way anxiety still danced in her eyes. "We're safe here." As they sipped their drinks, Jack found himself lost in thought. The earlier confrontation had pushed them together in ways he hadn't anticipated. Lily looked determined, but uncertainty flickered behind her gaze, just as it lingered in his own heart. "Jack," she started, hesitating slightly. "What if this is just the beginning? What if we find ourselves facing more moments like that? What if everything just keeps spiraling? The question loomed heavy, but Jack hated the idea of admitting fear. We faced it together tonight, he said firmly. That means we're stronger than we were yesterday. He reached across the table and took her hand in his, feeling that same electric spark. But what if we lose that strength? She pressed, vulnerability in her voice. He opened his mouth, ready to assure her that they could handle whatever came next, but then he thought back to the street just moments ago. Maybe we will, but maybe we'll find even more. Just then, the diner door swung open again, and a rush of cold air swept in. A few people entered, their faces strained, whispering to each other. Jack's heart dropped as he noticed the expressions fear reflected in their eyes told him this night was not over yet. Jack. Lily started, her voice suddenly cool and distant. Stay close, he urged, trying to stay calm as he searched for signs of danger amidst the new arrivals. And as the whispers intensified, Jack felt the weight of their situation settle back, a reminder that courage alone might not be enough to guide them through what was yet to come. Outside, the sirens still echoed, but now it felt like everything was closing in. What lay ahead felt uncertain, and yet Jack knew one thing for certain, they had already made a choice. But the real question lingered, clawing at him. How much more were they willing to risk for the courage they had just found? The diner buzzed with the chatter of customers, but Jack could feel the intensity of the tension rising. The whispers grew louder, blending with the clinking of silverware and the sizzle of the grill. He watched the newcomers, their faces pale and taut, scanning the room as if searching for someone. Jack, what if they're dangerous? Lily's voice trembled slightly, and he could see her eyes darting to the door every few seconds. Let us just keep calm, he replied, keeping his voice low. He squeezed her hand, trying to instill some kind of courage. The dynamic had shifted, they were alert, vigilant, and Jack could almost taste the fear hanging in the air like smoke. Moments ticked by like hours, and Jack noticed how the laughter and chatter in the diner had quieted. It was a collective heartbeat, waiting for something to break the stillness. Then, one of the new arrivals, a man with a scruffy beard and wild eyes, spoke up, his voice cutting through the silence. Did you hear about the riot downtown? They started attacking anyone. A rush of murmurs erupted among the patrons, panic slicing through the previously safe space. Jack's heart raced. Come on, he whispered to Lily. Let us go. He stood up, dragging her with him, when a loud bang echoed against the glass windows. The world outside was unfolding in chaos, crimson lights flashing. A woman burst through the door, shouting, They're coming. Get inside. Lock the doors. Jack's instincts kicked in, adrenaline surging through him. He glanced at Lily, who looked more frightened than he had ever seen her. He could feel the warmth of her hand slacking as she fought against the urge to retreat, but he couldn't let her go. We need to get to the back. He urged, guiding her through the crowd, weaving past startled diners who were now frozen in shock. The kitchen door loomed ahead, and Jack pushed it open, dragging her into the cramped warmth filled with the aroma of seasoned meats and fried potatoes. The hustle of the kitchen staff hardly registered with him, his focus was entirely on keeping Lily safe. Jack! What are we doing? Lily shouted over the noise, her voice tinged with desperation. There has to be a back exit. We can't stay here, he replied, scanning the room for their escape. Do you really think we can just walk out? She said, panic tightening her features. What if they find us? His resolve slipped slightly under her gaze. We can't just wait here and hope things get better. Just then, a loud crash erupted from the front as someone kicked open the door, chaos spilling in. Jack's heart raced. The shouts and sounds of scuffling drifted back toward them. He could hear the terrified gasps echoing through the diner. Stay close. He commanded, and they turned towards the back exit. As they rushed towards a small door marked employees only, he could feel fear clawing at his insides, but he refused to show it. Lily seemed to draw strength from his determination. Her grip tightened, and she nodded in agreement. They reached the door just as the commotion grew wilder in the dining area, and Jack threw the door open. Outside, the alley was dark and narrow, but it felt like freedom. "Let us go," he said, glancing back at the chaos erupting behind them. It felt surreal one moment, they were lost in the thrill of a newfound connection, and the next, they were running for their lives. As they stepped into the night air, they faced the uncertainty of what awaited them outside the safety of the diner. "We need a plan," Lily breathed, her eyes wide with fear yet glowing with determination. "What if we don't make it?" she whispered, trembling slightly. Their fight had forced them to uncover new parts of themselves, but this night was pushing every boundary they thought they understood. Jack turned to her, steeling himself. "We will make it, Lily. We have to. Whatever it takes." And in that moment, amidst the shadows of chaos, they understood the fight for their future had only just begun. With urgency pressing down on them, they took their first steps into the unknown. But just as they rounded the corner, a shout pierced through the darkness. "Hey! You two! Stop!" Jack's heart sank. They were far from safety, and whatever lay ahead felt more daunting than ever. Would they find the courage to face it, or would the night swallow them whole? The alley echoed with the shout, casting a chill into Jack's spine. He spun around, gripping Lily's hand tighter, ready for the worst. The shadows flickered, and a figure emerged, a young man in a dark jacket, face lost in the low light, but his posture screamed authority. "I said stop." Without thinking, Jack launched forward, pulling Lily after him. Every instinct screamed to run. His heart hammered in his chest as they dashed through the narrow passage, bumping against damp walls and trash cans. The metallic scent of fear mingled with the stench of garbage. It was a scene from a nightmare. "Jack, where are we going?" Lily panted, her breath quickening. "I don't know. Just keep moving," he urged, glancing over his shoulder. The man was gaining on them, his footsteps echoing ominously. Jack was determined not to look back, not wanting to see the fear that was surely etched on Lily's face. They veered left, deeper into the alley, but it seemed to stretch endlessly, winding away from any semblance of safety. A heavy dread settled in Jack's belly. What if they got trapped? "Jack!" Lily's voice cut through his thoughts, her tone raw with panic. "I can't do this." He skidded to a halt, turning to face her. "You can. You have to. Trust me." He could see the battle raging in her eyes, a mix of despair and the spark of fight he knew was there. This was a crucible moment, one that would forge her spirit in the heat of fear, or drown her in it. "I see a door," she shouted, pointing towards the far end of the alley. Jack squinted through the shadows. There it was, a small door partially ajar, leading into another building. "We have to make it there. Now." As they rushed towards it, the footsteps behind them crescendoed. Jack could feel the tension boiling, every muscle in his body tightened, ready for a confrontation. "Don't stop," he barked. The door ahead beckoned like a lighthouse. Just as they reached it, Jack pushed it open with all his strength, shoving Lily inside before slipping through himself. The door swung shut, sealing them in darkness. Jack leaned against it, trying to catch his breath, his heart thundering like a drum. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice a hoarse whisper. Lily was trembling, her arms wrapped around herself as if trying to hold her courage together. What if he finds us?" Her voice quivered, lost in the uncertain void. "He won't," Jack assured her, though uncertainty gnawed at the edges of his bravado. "We'll find a way out. Just give me a second." He strained to listen for any sign of the man, the echo of footsteps now muted behind the thick door. As he took a moment to breathe, he scanned their surroundings. The room was musty and cluttered, filled with forgotten boxes and old furniture covered in dust. An abandoned storage room. A chilling thought touched his mind: they were trapped. No windows, just 4 bare walls and 1 door. Jack felt a wave of panic rise in his throat. Jack, Lily's voice broke the silence again, fear palpable in her tone. What if we can't get out? He turned to her, meeting her worried gaze. We have to believe we can. Together. We can't give up now. But doubt seeped into his resolve. They had just escaped one danger, and here they were, caught in a room with unknown horrors outside. He had promised to protect her, but now that promise felt like an anchor pulling him deeper into despair. Suddenly, the door rattled, a heavy hand thumping against it. Hey! I know you're in there. The voice was much closer now, and panic surged through Jack. We have to find another way out. Jack whispered, urgency fueling his words. He started searching the room frantically, sweeping aside crates and boxes. They had to keep moving or they'd lose everything. Lily joined him, desperation etched across her face, yet determination flickered in her eyes. As the door shuttered again under the weight of their pursuer, Jack thought about what they were leaving behind and what they still had to fight for. Could they really outrun their fears, or would they be consumed by what was lurking just outside? Jack's breath caught at the thought, but he pushed it away. They wouldn't just survive the night, they'd reclaim their lives, starting here and now. And with that resolve stirring inside him, they dove deeper into the shadows of the room, knowing they had to find an escape. Would they emerge victorious, or would the darkness swallow them whole? Jack's heart raced as he dug through the boxes, a frantic search illuminated only by the faint glimmer of a flickering bulb overhead. Every sound outside echoed like a drum: heavy footsteps, muffled shouts, and the jingling of something metallic. They were running out of time. Look! Lily exclaimed, pushing a box aside to reveal a small window covered in grime. We might be able to climb out of this. He rushed over, the flicker of hope lifting his spirits slightly. But as both of them peered out, the narrowing alleyway felt like a trap rather than an escape. It's too high, he muttered, disappointment settling in. We'd have to jump. Before doubt could drag them down, the pounding on the door intensified. Jack set his jaw, refusing to let fear dictate their next step. We need to find something to pry the window open, he murmured. Lily nodded, grit in her voice. We can't let him find us. We're stronger together, right? Her determination surged through him, a shared fire that couldn't be extinguished. They began rummaging once more until Jack spotted a crowbar beneath a pile of dusty boxes. This! He exclaimed, adrenaline fueling his movement, prying it from the debris. The sound was loud and jarring, but time was slipping away. Quick! Help me! They positioned themselves beneath the window, their breaths mingling as they worked. As Jack wedged the crowbar into the frame, the wood creaked. The cold air slipped in, a gust of freshness igniting their resolve. Finally, with one last heave, the window burst open. Jack glanced back at Lily, seeing fear and determination reflected in her eyes. You first. He insisted, ushering her towards the opening. No. She exclaimed softly but firmly. We go together. Always. Taking a firm grip on the sides, they climbed, the world outside seeming both an escape and a daunting challenge. With one final push, they squeezed through and landed on the rough pavement outside, the night air jolting their senses. Where to? Lily gasped, breaking into a sprint, Jack right beside her, both feeling an invincible rush. Follow me. They bolted down the alley, shadows dancing around them. The din of chaos faded into a backdrop as they turned onto a busier street. Night lights bathed the city, a stark contrast to the danger that had nearly consumed them. Suddenly, Jack came to a halt, spinning to face her. She looked scared yet alive, an unspoken understanding of what they had just overcome. Lily, we made it, we actually made it. A laugh escaped him, pure relief washing over him. But her smile wavered, shadows still lurking in her mind. But what comes next? Are we okay? Okay. Jack's brow furrowed as he searched her eyes. We're more than okay. We fought back together. That's a testament to who we are now, not just who we used to be. The bond between them shimmered in the night, tangible proof of their transformation. They had faced chaos and lived to tell the tale. Before they could revel in this moment, another thought struck him. Jack reached for Lily's hand. Together, we can create a plan. We'll find a way to turn this into strength, make our dreams a reality. No one can take that from us anymore. With newfound purpose stitching their hearts together, they made their way through the bustling night. The luminous glow of streetlights painted their path, each step infused with hope and determination. Let us find a place to celebrate. Lily's eyes sparkled, excitement building. This was a battle. Let us have a victory feast. Jack chuckled. You know what? That's a great idea. You've earned it, chef extraordinaire. Her laughter bubbled up, bright and unrestrained. And you, my brave protector. Let us take on this city together. As they walked hand in hand, the city buzzed around them, a living tapestry of dreams waiting to be woven. It felt like the dawn of a new beginning. They had turned their trials into triumphs and emerged as something stronger. No longer were they alone, locked in struggle. They had now found companionship in their ambition, their fears transformed into fuel rather than chains. And amidst the chaos that life would undoubtedly throw their way, they promised to stand beside each other, ready to face whatever lay ahead. They had written their story through the adversity. It was a newfound anthem of hope. As Jack watched Lily beam with excitement about their endless possibilities, he realized one thing more than anything: this was only the start. So, are you ready to turn your own story into an anthem of resilience? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, pushing our community to help more journey makers like Lily and Jack find their path. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation, showing them what true courage looks like. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.